What's up, guys? I wanted to show you a little bit about how I am making my curves for my walls that butt into the side of the boat. So as you can see, the hull curves like that. And when you got a straight edge here, you got to put a piece of plywood in here, and you got to match that curve. So here's what I like to do that. In this case, I've got a piece of the wall that I'm going to save for the purpose of having something to mount to. So I've got this chunk of wall that I've cut flush right here, and I just took my speed square and I put this piece of plywood, just a little rip of plywood I had left over, flush with the wall right there at that end, and then down at the bottom, because not only does the hull curve this way, it also curves this way. So I can't, the measurement from over here to the straight wall here is not going to be the same as here down to here. It makes things complicated. I could come off the edge or off the middle of the floor line here, which I did do to get things started, but I can't really rely on that either, especially with walls that are already constructed. I don't know if those are even in line with that. So anyhow, what I did was I did manage to use a little bit of the existing construction here. Let's see. So we've got this compartment here that enclosed the toilet pump. It's got this piece of wood that goes, well, it used to go all the way along, but you could see where it did and matched in here. So I assumed, for the sake of this purpose, that this edge is the same distance away from the jamb as this edge. So I just measured from here to the surface of the plywood back in here, to the surface here, all that good stuff. Basically came back, ended up with 2 3/4 inches off of the surface here. So on my piece of leftover board here, I just brought it out to the edge there. So now we've got this edge right here, this factory edge, representing where the end of my wall needs to end up. From there, every 6 inches, I made a mark on here, all the way up down on through here. And then I just took my tape measure and I measured along. So to here, I want to come straight on into this pipe. I'm going to make a little notch here in my wall to bring these through. And I just measure along to the edge there. So there I've got 11 1/4 tight. I just drop it back a little bit to 11, because this is all actually going to be inside of a staircase, little miniature staircase. So no big deal, it doesn't need to be perfect. But anyhow, point is, I will keep measuring on up through each mark. And I'll just go in a little further until where I want to be, measurement, make a mark. And so I know that every 6 inches, as this graduates, as you can see, 18.5, 20, 20, 22, 24 3/4, 25, and on up, and it just follows that curve. Once I'm up top, I'll take another piece of plywood like this, and I'll preserve the factory edge there, and I'll just put those marks onto here. So I'll come off the end there, go 11, and then just keep every 6 inches making my marks using my T-square, which will end up with a connect the dots situation. And then I'll take a little thin strip of plywood and I'll curve it along to connect all the dots in a nice curve. And that's how I'll make my curve for the boat. And as you can see, it's the same purpose, or same system that I used on these. This one I'm not so happy about, because I didn't bring it in straight and up. I made a curve with that. Shouldn't have done that. Oh well. But anyhow, in here you can see it works out pretty nicely. I'm gonna have to put in a piece of trim in there anyway, so I wasn't trying to be too perfect. But if you wanted to really get this right, you could make that fit very, very perfectly. So anyhow, that's how I'm fitting in these curved walls.